pleasant there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's Visit NC that you can go and grab different backgrounds, virtual backgrounds.
I think so.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I guess I could have said, Mayor Curran, that it's the new COG offices and it's the view from my window.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking it was.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, working from home, you can work from anywhere, right?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
So we are going to go live in 1 minute. So we've got down the 1 minute countdown. Renee, I don't know if you've received the message from Sally Green, but if you can resend the link to her, please.
I just did that. Thank you. Trying to find it and do that. If you hear snoring, it's that my dog is not me. Work. All right.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. We will begin in about a minute, but we are live right now. All right, it is 6 o'clock. And I would like to welcome everyone. Thank you. Thank you for those of you who may be joining us from the public. And thank you all who are here for this meeting. Mayor Raines is not here. So you hear a different voice. This is Kathleen Ferguson, your first vice chair and commissioner from the town of Hillsborough. And so we are calling this meeting to order. I am not going to go through the public charge, but I know that all will be respectful and with dignity. And just a reminder to please keep your systems on mute until you're ready to speak. You can raise your hand electronically. I cannot see everyone, and Renee, I hope that you can help me also if there are questions that I can't see, and Renee also will be here to monitor the chat. So all votes will be taken by roll call, and with that, we will do the first to see where we are with quorum. So Renee, if you would begin the roll call.
Okay. Wilma Laney,
Wilma Laney is here. Present.
Joe Danley, Bob Smith,
Bob Smith is here.
Brett Gant,
Brett Gant's here.
Audra Killingsworth, Mark Wilson,
Mark Wilson here.
Mark Jackson,
Did you hear me, Renee?
yes, thank you,
Okay.
Jerry Medlin,
Here.
Cassandra Stack, Tommy Bill, I see you, Tommy, Donald Andrews. Is there anyone on the call from Cameron, the town of Cameron? Randy Haven O'Donnell,
Present.
Dan Bonillo. He just accepted the meeting, so I think he'll be on in a minute. Christopher Nance, Jennifer Robinson, Lori Bush, Michael Parker, Jim Crawford, Diana Hales, Jason Thompson, Deidreana Freeman, Javiera Caballero, Heidi Carter, Nida Allen, Larry Smith, Jason Wunsch, Ken Marshburn,
I am present. Thank you.
Tim Knupp, Kathleen Ferguson,
Present.
Matt Hughes, Sean McGrath, Aaron Wolf, Butch Lauder, Trinity Henderson, Jessica Day, Smith,
I am present. Not sure if you heard me. Jessica Day.
oh, thank you, Jessica. Kirk Smith, Mariana Lavalley, and please tell me if is that correct?
It's LaValley.
LaValley, okay, thank you.
I'm here.
Jay Langston, Russell Creech, Satish Garamello, Steve Rao,
Here, present.
Sally Green,
Here.
Renee Price, Jeff Holt, Greg Baker, Kevin Drum,
Here. Can you hear me?
yes, thank you, Jane Hogeman, Pamela Baldwin, Michael Fiacco, Donald Raines, Corey Branch, Nikki Bradshaw, Ronnie Curran,
I'm here.
Michelle Medley,
Here.
Rebecca Salmon,
I'm here.
Chet Mann, Byron McAllister, Cheryl Oliver, Bill Haggis,
Bill Hayes is here.
thank you, Louis Fadley, Andy Moore,
Present.
John Dunn, Carol Haney, Bill Pate, Sig Hutchinson,
I'm here, Renee, and also Susan Evans, the alternate with Wake County, is also on the call.
yep, she's next on my list. So Susan's here,
Thank you.
Here.
Chad Sari,
Chad Sari's present.
Vivian Jones, Bill Tarnaski, Joe Deloach,
Joe Deloach is here.
McGowan,
David McGowan's here.
Jim Uzzle, Larry Laux, Lynn York. Okay, I see that Deidreana Freeman is here.
I am here.
Okay, did anyone else come in?
Hi, this is Heidi Carter for Durham
Oh.
County.
Great, thank you, Heidi.
Thank you. Sorry to be late.
It's okay. Roll call takes a long time.
Excuse me, can you resend that link because I'm calling from my phone, but I'd rather not. To
Okay,
Michelle Medley. That would be
Okay.
Michelle Medley.
I would like that as well. Kevin Drum.
can you do that, Elena? Okay, thank you. Okay, so we do have a quorum. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. And with that, we will move to the next item on our agenda, which is the review of the agenda. The chair will entertain a motion or hear if there are any changes desired.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda. This is Bill Haggis.
This is Rebecca Salmon. I'll second.
All right, the motion being put forth, properly seconded. Any further discussion? All right, then we will proceed to roll call vote to approve the agenda as presented.
Madam Chair, this is Lee. We have we've typically just allowed for the chair to call that the agenda is set, so we don't have to go through another roll call, if that's
yay.
acceptable to you.
That so works for me, and I'm sure everyone else is grateful to be spared another roll call. Thank you. So with that levity, but unfortunately we have to share not so light news, and that many of you are aware that one of our former delegates, Lee County Commissioner Kevin Dodson, his death was announced last year, and we wanted to share a resolution in his memory. Do we have a member of his family present? Lee, do you know?
We don't have a member of the family.
All right. Well, I won't read the resolution, but I would like to open up if there's anyone who wishes to share any thoughts, any memories, and then from there we will have a moment of silence. So I will open the floor now if there's anyone who wishes to share anything.
This is Rebecca Salmon. I obviously had a chance to serve with Kevin. He was a Lee County Commissioner, and I was on the City Council. And I'll just share that he really. I spoke with him about him at our last meeting as he was coming off the board, but he really did care about the community and had a real passion for Lee County and for its residents. And this has really been a very sad thing for our community, and it came as quite a shock, to all of us. And I don't know if Ariana, if you have anything that you'd like to add, but he really will be a missed member of our community.
Hi, yes, I'm here. I certainly would. This is Ariana LaValle, and I had the privilege of serving on the Board of County Commissioners with Commissioner Dodson, and he had a great personality. He was funny and kind, and he did care a lot about our community, and it was tragic the way that it happened so quickly. But he leaves a really beautiful legacy in our county, and he served as vice chair, which I have the honor of serving in that position now. And so we remember him, and we pray for his family, and we carry on.
Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else who wishes to say anything before we move? And I wish to open this moment of silence in recognition and memory of our former colleague. Thank you. And with that, we will move on to recognition of our outgoing delegates.
Madam Chair, before you move forward,
yes.
I hit the link that was sent to me, and I'm kind of in a by myself space. Does someone have to let me in?
Renee, can you let in? We've got folks in the waiting. No worries. Renee, can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I'm not seeing anyone in the lobby.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I'll stay on the phone. Let's go.
All right. So where we are is recognizing the folks who have left office and who have recently served. John Lutz for the town of Wendell. John Boyette also for the town of Wendell. Brenda Howardson for Durham County. Lonnie English for the town of Robbins. And James Robertson for the town of Nightdale. We are so grateful for the service that each of these individuals, they represent years of service to our organization, to the region. We so appreciate their contributions, and we wish them the very best in the next chapter. And so with that, we also welcome the new delegate. And from there, and you'll have to excuse me, I just got hit by a dog. We also are going to be having some new staff members. So first, I would like to have the new delegates and alternates, if we could have just a moment for all to introduce themselves. And this is again our new delegates, which is a welcome. We're so pleased to have you join us, and look forward to meeting the formal in this group. Do we have any our new delegates? We have.
I can go ahead and begin. My name is Ariana LaValle, and I am a county commissioner in Lee County. And I have our chair, Kirk Smith. He's on call. He was unable to connect with his camera, and his audio doesn't seem to be working either. But we're both on the call, and we're excited to be here and be a part of Triangle J. Looking forward to meeting you all.
Welcome. And I'll help. Louis Fadley. I hope I pronounce names. And forgive me up front if I butcher any names. Please correct me. I thought I heard Heidi Carter.
Yeah, yes. Hi, everyone. I can only see Kathleen. I actually been looking at the participant little icon to see if there's a way to see everyone, but whatever. I'm just honored to have been appointed to the Triangle J Council of Governments board. I really have tried to take advantage of all the resources that TJ Cog offers. It's definitely helped to make me a better commissioner, and I look forward to hopefully finding a way to contribute and be helpful in any way that I can. Look forward to working with you all. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Heidi. And Nida or Nida? What is the correct pronunciation?
That's Nitha Alam. She's one of my new colleagues on the Durham County Board of Commissioners. Forgot to say I was from Durham County. She's the alternate and could not be here tonight. So.
All right. Jeff Holt. Greg Baker. And Dan Bonillo. I know Renee was not able to. Matt Hughes.
Oops, I'm sorry. I believe Dan just joined us, I believe.
Oh, fantastic. Dan, it's nothing like being put on the spot when you first joined, so I'll make it easy. It's just a quick introduction. We're welcoming you to the Board of Delegates for Triangle J.
Believe you're muted.
I think he's still muted. Dan, welcome. We will definitely have time to get to know you, and hopefully it'll be, we won't have to wait too long before we're out of lockdown. Is Matt Hughes on the line? I know that Matt had wanted to attend. He had a couple of conflicts. Matt is one of my colleagues and very active, and glad to have him join as alternate. Susan Evans, I understand you're with SIG.
Yes, glad to be here. I'm White County Commissioner, starting my 3rd year as a commissioner, but my first time is being officially assigned to Triangle J, even though I have attended some of your events in the past, and looking forward to working together with everyone.
Well, welcome. And Phil Tarnowski. No, and Joe Deloach.
Joe is here. I am in Wendell, so pleased to be a part of it and really looking forward to having input from Eastern Wake County. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. And so glad to have you guys join us. This is a great group, and we are excited to and look forward to your contribution.
Thank you.
And with that, we will move to, we have new staff, and take it away.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're really excited to introduce 2 outstanding staff members to the TJCOG team. And as usual, we want to introduce them to you. So I'm going to turn it over to our housing program manager, who will introduce Catrice. Erica?
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm really pleased to be here to introduce our newest hire and the newest hire in our sort of housing focus area, Catrice Hale. She is serving with us as a planner too, focusing primarily on housing projects, but you know, we get pulled into other stuff all the time. And I think she's going to speak a little bit more about the project she's working on, but she is going to be working on, you know, technical assistance projects with many of your local governments, and also helping us out with the administration of some of our home repair programs, which is a direct service we provide to most counties in our region. So I'll let Catrice go ahead and introduce herself. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catrice. I'm originally from Garysburg, North Carolina, a small town in northeastern North Carolina. I hold a bachelor's in sociology from the University of Pennsylvania. I hold a master's in city and regional planning from the University of UNC Chapel Hill. And I'm currently working on my MBA at East Carolina. As far as my professional experience, work experience, prior to coming to COG, I was a planner in the Comprehensive Planning Division for Cumberland County. Prior to that, I worked for the City of Rocky Mount for 2 years as their Community Development Planning Specialist, mainly focusing on administering their housing repair service programs. And between earning my master's degree and starting working at the City of Rocky Mount, I interned as a real estate intern for Self-Help Credit Union. As far as my responsibilities and projects that I'll be working with at COG, I will be providing expertise on housing technical assistance projects, including the Fayetteville Housing Study, which would be a need assessment, and creating a 10-year plan for implementation, conducting a impact study for the Community Home Trust, which is a land trust nonprofit organization. I will be helping to administer a grant for the Department of Environmental Quality to improve collaborative efforts for home repair and weatherization organizations within the Triangle region. And I will be assisting in the administration of housing repair programs, North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, and locally funded programs in Chatham, Durham, Harnett, Lee, Orange, and Wake counties, as well as seek new opportunities to serve our member communities. Why did I choose to come to TJCOG? Basically, they provided opportunity and responsibility to make regional impact in underserved communities, all while offering flexibility. Some fun facts about myself. I love Mickey Mouse. In the 10th grade, I had the opportunity to travel to India for 2 weeks on a teacher's workshop. India is the furthest place I've fathered thus far. And I was a Gates Millennium Scholar from 2009 to 2013. And that's me in a nutshell.
So we're really thrilled to have Catrice as part of our growing housing program area and housing focus area. Really proud of the work that they're doing, and you can see we're actually doing work in partnership with some other colleagues outside of our region, which I'm very, very pleased about. So I'm also thrilled to introduce our new Natural Resources and Resiliency Program Manager, Miss Emily Barrett. Emily will introduce herself to you, but we're just really excited to have Emily as part of our TJCOG team and our strategic leadership team. So with that, Emily, will you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for spending a little time with we new Cogsters, as they call us tonight. So I'm Emily Barrett. I'm the new Natural Resources and Resilience Program Manager, and I have the great privilege and responsibility of taking over the water resources programs. But first, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Alabama and went to the University of Alabama, which was in my hometown. And for my undergraduate, I did a master's thesis on wetlands, and that started a lifelong love of water and looking at how natural systems actually work to keep us healthy. For my master's degree, I went to UNC Chapel Hill at the School of Public Health and studied environmental science and engineering there, where I looked at constructed wetlands for wastewater treatment in areas in North Carolina that didn't have proper soils for septic systems. I most recently have been at the town of Cary. I was the sustainability manager for 10 years there. Still live in Cary and love it, and I'm proud to have served in that community. Before that, I lived in Texas and worked both in private consulting and for the state environmental agency. And you'll see I have 2 native Texans in my home on a future slide. And I also worked for the Research Triangle Institute doing water quality mapping work as well. So I have a long, if spaced out connection to the triangle. Next slide, please. So here at the COG, you'll see that beautiful picture of Jordan Lake. Here at the COG, Natural Resources and Resilience covers several areas. Like I mentioned before, water resources is a big part of what we do for many of you. Our group runs the Jordan Lake One Water program that you've probably heard of. And if you haven't, I'd be happy to talk with you about it later. We work on the Clean Water Education Partnership, the Triangle Area Water Supply Partnership, Upper Cape Fear River Basin, the Raleigh Watershed Protection Program, and the Durham Water Supply Protection Program, to name just a few. We also are working in an expanding area of air quality, energy, and climate. You heard Catrice talk a little bit about weatherization in homes, and that's a key part of the way many communities are trying to reduce their energy use. Also looking at solid waste. Many of you are interested in recycling. And recently here in the Triangle, we've had a new organization pop up talking about the circular economy. And also working on resilience. And the next slide is a little bit about what is resilience anyway. So don't pay too much attention to all that text. You know, resilience is just how you put into place systems that help you bounce back from an upset. So if you look at the line that's horizontal at the top, that's sort of normal, where you are normally. And then that red line that's labeled hazard, boom, a hazard happens. You have a storm, you have a pandemic, you have any number of upsets. And if you haven't built in resilience, you dip low and then come back gradually. But what resilience is that green triangle to the left. So that's things like building homes that maybe are a little bit, have a higher cross space near flooding prone areas. It's working with people to make sure they have jobs that can withstand economic upsets, things like that. So once you've built into resilience, you can see your lighter area, you don't dip as low when upsets happen and you come back faster. And that's really what resilience is all about. Some people say that it's not about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward. You know, you make changes so that you can recover quicker and not have that upset be as bad or even at all. So would love to talk more with you guys. And I guess the next slide is a little bit more fun. So fun facts. You can see my dog Finn there. We have in our household a COVID puppy. He is almost a year old now. I hate to tell you, we've been in it this long. Those are my two native Texans, Abe and Gigi. My kids, they're both in the Wake County school system. I got Alabama there because, you know, if it's not college football, I'm not sure if it's football. And that strange creature, does anybody know what that strange creature is there? That is called a capybara. And that is the largest rodent in the world. And also, like Catrice, I've traveled. So I've been to the biggest wetland in the world in Brazil called the Pantanal. And so I love wetlands, and I guess my husband figured a good gift for me this year would be a kayak. So that's why the boat is there. So if anybody has kayaking tips in your community, I'm here. I would like to have them. Thanks so much. And really, you know, we're all of our communities can do so much, but we can do so much more together. And I just think regionalism is where it's at. You know, it can save money, it saves time, it gives us a feeling of not being alone and doing things together. And I'm just so honored to be here with y'all.
Welcome. And glad to have another fellow Alabamian. Roll Tide. I'm from Huntsville.
Woo, Roll Tide.
Absolutely. So anyhow, thank you. And we're just so glad and credit goes to the entire COG for amazing staff. And thank you, Lee, and your leadership. Thank you, fellow delegates. I am continue to be blown away by the folks here at the COG. So thank you. And with that, we'll move on to the presentation of our FY 2019 and 20 financial statements and annual audit report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll kick it off and then I'll hand it off to our Finance Director, Judy Weller, and the team at Cherry Beckert, however they want to handle the presentation. I do want to say a couple things, though. You know, every year we're required to present an audit report to our governing board, just like you all have your audits presented in your individual local governments. We're going to put I know we're virtual, so it's a little bit different this year with the audit presentation. There was a link to the audit in the agenda. If for some reason you haven't, you can't get to it, we'll put a link into the chat here in a second for you to be able to get to the actual audit document. But let me just say how proud I am of the staff and the good work that they do to make sure that we not only serve our members, but we do it in a financially sound way. I can say from being on the county management side that COG finances, although we are a local government, they are very different than a city or a county. We have numerous federal and state awards that are flowing through. We have lots of receivables and other things that are coming in at all sorts of different points in time, and making sure that that we have our payments on time and we get our grants on time is just really important. And so I just want to congratulate Judy Weller and Maurice Jackson, who are our finance team, for a job well done. But it's really also all the staff. You know, we all have to be mindful of financial controls and doing things correctly to be able to once again get a very clean audit and a very positive report. So with that, Judy, April, and Amber, I'm going to turn it over to you all to do the actual presentation. Thank you.
Okay, well, hey guys, my name is Amber Metz. I'm an audit manager here at Cherry Beckert. I've been working on the TJ Cog engagement with Cherry Beckert ever since I started about 5.5 years ago. So I've gotten to know the team and Judy very well. And I just echo what Lee said about Judy and Maurice this year. They did a great job as always. It's always great to work with them. And we just really appreciate the relationship that we have with you all. If we could go to the next slide. So this is kind of just a big overview about what the presentation is going to cover. I'll go over each category in more detail. So if we'll go to the next slide. So first up is the role of the external auditor, what we are responsible for, what we do. Just to give you a brief update, I'm sure some of you have heard it many times before, but it's always great to hear again. It's our responsibility to plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. This also, in the COGS case and a lot of local governments cases, includes compliance, and that is the testing of the federal and state funding against the applicable compliance requirements, just to make sure that everything's in order for that. As far as the results, you will see 4 opinions in the financial statements. One is the overall audit opinion, that is on the financial statements. You will note that it is an unmodified opinion this year, which is the highest assurance we can give. You're also going to see 3 opinions closer towards the back of the statements, and they are for internal control over financial reporting, federal compliance, and state compliance. Again, unmodified opinions, the highest assurance we can give you all. As far as required communications, we are required to communicate to you all if there were any major policy changes, changes in estimates, or journal entries made and identified by the audit team. There were no changes in the organization's policies, no changes or new estimates in the current year, and there were no auditor identified journal entries for the year either. Next slide. So this slide is talking about internal controls, and audit standards require that we obtain an understanding of the organization's processes and controls and perform walkthroughs of key controls just to make sure they're operating as designed and they're operating effectively. Further, we're required to test internal controls. We test on a rotational basis, and this year we tested controls over payroll and noted no findings. Next, we're also required to test journal entries. We get a big data dump of the general ledger, looking at journal entries, and this year we used an artificial intelligence tool called MindBridge to help us identify any unusual or categorically high-risk journal entries to detail tests, just to give you all a basis noting that journal entries are proper, they have a business purpose, they're reviewed and approved in a timely manner. No findings were noted in our journal entry testing. And finally, we look at information technology controls. We just look at the IT environment, gain an understanding of the overall nature, and happy to report that the COG follows IT best practices. If we want to go to the next slide. So this is probably one of the main meats of the audit are our significant audit areas. This is where we dedicate a majority of our time and efforts. And you will see that this year, receivables and revenues, payroll, pension, and OPEB, and single audit and or the audit of the federal and state funding were our major areas this year where we spent a lot of time. For these areas, we send out confirmations, we do a lot of analytical procedures, and we also sample and detail test transactions. You want to go to the next slide. So this slide shows you what we tested in single audit, or the grants that we tested this year. We tested the aging cluster this year, which is federally and state funded. There are 4 attributes: allowable costs, just making sure that you're spending money on things that you're allowed to spend money on. Reporting, making sure you're filing the right reports, the reports are accurate and they're filed on time. Procurement, just making sure that the COG follows procedures for evaluating and engaging vendors. Local match, which is just that the COG matches some of the federal and state funding with local funding, making sure that that's the correct percentage. And we also looked at the monitoring that the COG performs over some of their pass-through entities where the funds get passed through to senior centers and other communities, just making sure that those providers are spending that money correctly as well. Happy to report no findings noted within our testing of the aging cluster. And this is probably the most important slide in the presentation. If you don't listen to another word I say, please pay attention now. It's a big summary of how the audit ended up. Like I mentioned before, there are 4 opinions. All are unmodified, which is the highest assurance we can get. There were no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses noted throughout internal controls or any of our testing. No findings in single audit. No changes in accounting policies. No changes to the significant estimates, which are the AR allowance, depreciation, OPEB, and pension, and no auditor identified journal entry. So overall, very well done. Next slide. We just want to talk through a couple of financial results. We all know that 2020 was a year of uncertainties, but given the hurdles that all of us encountered, the COG came out extremely well. While revenues tracked under budget, expenses also tracked under budget, and you will notice that expenses also tracked well under the revenue shortfall. This led the council to be able to put money back into their fund balance. Approximately $500,000 went into total fund balance. So even with the difficulties encountered, the COG ended up right side up. If we want to go to the next slide. So this just talks a little bit more about overall fund balance. It is the COG's policy to have 2 months of general fund expenditures, excluding any pass-through amounts, reserved for in fund balance. And happy to note for 2020, they are meeting their fund balance policy and actually exceeding it as well. To talk about the OPEB fund, or the Retirement Insurance Fund, just to give you some key highlights there, the assets increased, but the liability also increased. The liability is a function of employees and a lot of actuarial data about longevity, health insurance costs. So it's typical that you do see an increase over time for that, but just note that your assets are increasing as well. So hopefully that'll keep up so the liability is offset. And finally, in summary, clean opinions, no journal entries, good internal controls, no reportable findings that we need to communicate. And again, just have to thank Judy and Marie. Let it go very smoothly. And that's it that we have prepared for a presentation. Are there any questions? Well, if there are no questions, I guess I'll turn it back over to Judy and Lee and Kathleen.
Thank you so much. And again, a credit to our staff that despite everything that has been thrown in our direction, we still maintain a very healthy financial picture. So thank you for that. And now we move on to the update on transportation demand management program with Sean Flaherty and Suchi Gupta.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Flaherty, Principal Planner, and I'm joined by my colleague, Suchi Gupta, who's our Program Coordinator for the Triangle Transportation Demand Management, or TDM program. So we appreciate the opportunity to provide just a brief update this evening on the Triangle Region's Transportation Demand Management program. For those who are unfamiliar with the region's TDM effort, we'll start here on this first slide with a bulk of the information before reviewing our regional partners, program funding structure, and then some performance metrics. You can see the primary goals of transportation demand management in the Triangle is improving air quality and reducing the growing congestion here in the Triangle. So this initiative really focuses on transportation demand versus supply. So in this context, we can think about supply as actual transportation infrastructure, right? Building new roads, building more transit, buying new buses, bicycle and pedestrian facilities, all that kind of stuff. Whereas on the demand side, we're focused on non-infrastructure based efforts to manage the transportation needs in the region. And we do this in our TDM program by encouraging alternatives to the single occupancy vehicle commute. So what does that mean in non-wonky transportation planning terms? It means getting people out of their single occupancy vehicles, encouraging people through education, through outreach, to try alternative modes of transportation. This could be biking to work, this could be walking, carpooling with a friend or neighbor or colleague, taking a van pull, trying transit, and whether we like it or not these days, teleworking. Anything besides driving alone. The graphic on the right here is a little bit out of date since we've added a couple of more local TDM service providers across the region, but it gives you an idea of the breadth of services that are coordinated in conjunction with Go Triangle to incentivize these alternative modes. As you can imagine, demand management is far less expensive than funding any additional transportation supply. We can go to the next slide. And this is really the primary reason, given all the budget issues across this fiscal year, that we've seen where demand management, we receive a lot more bang for our buck in reducing congestion and providing transportation resources to the region, despite the budgetary issues seen at NCDOT, seen at our local governments, and even at the federal level. This shows the number of partners that were reflected on that map. And again, we're missing a couple of logos here that we were able to continue funding this fiscal year. The program is funded on a state fiscal year cycle, so July 1st through June 30th each year. We typically put out a competitive call for projects in the spring, so that would have been around March of 2020, and have those contracts and funding in place for these types of initiatives and partnerships around the region well before July 1st. Due to budgetary issues at NCDOT and at the federal level, we were not able to do that until right before the holidays. I really want to thank Suchi Gupta, our finance team, John Hodges-Koppel on our planning team for pushing through. TJCOG was as proactive as possible in preparing to provide contracts to our local member governments and other TDM service providers across the state, and really hustled to, once the funding came through, we can go to the next slide actually, once the funding came through from our funding partners, and I'll review this graphic in a minute, it took us about less than 2 weeks to get those contracts in place for some positions, around 30 across the region, that were about 2 quarters behind in receiving basically an annual recurring funding source for those types of initiatives. So just a quick overview of program administration and the funding sources. At the top, you'll see Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Improvement Program, or CMAQ. These are federal flow-down dollars that come through Federal Highway Administration to NCDOT, and then ultimately the region's two municipal planning organizations, Capital Area MPO and Durham Chapel Hill Carborough MPO. TJCOG combines those funds with NCDOT's state grant funds from now the Integrated Mobility Division. We collect those funds into a single pot, that competitive call for projects each year to administer the program, evaluate and monitor performance, and also administer the Best Workplace for Commuters program. We actually funded 14 service providers this current fiscal year, and we have one regional service provider, which is Go Triangle. You can go to the next slide, please. Just a little bit of information here on the performance of the program. Our primary performance metric is vehicle miles traveled. So reducing the growth in commuter vehicle miles traveled is where we derive air quality improvements and where we derive improvements in the growth and congestion across the region. The program actually started in 2007, but we didn't really start having a I guess I should say standardized methodology for a conservative estimate in our VMT reductions until 2009. But Suchi and I, looking back at some of the information that we have since 2007, the program has reduced over 560 million commuter miles traveled since 2007. And then finally, we go a step further than a lot of other TDM programs across the country. And we look at other benefits of reducing the single occupancy vehicle commute. You could see just a couple of examples here. 2.9 million gallons of gasoline saved during the fiscal year of 2019. Over 60,000 alternative transportation users supported. And even the ability to calculate pounds of carbon dioxide or CO2 released in the triangle area is a metric that we constantly are looking at as a way to maybe look at some new future funding opportunities. So that's just a quick overview. And again, we just wanted to really thank all of our partners for hanging on through the funding issues that we had this year that were out of our control, and wanted to thank you all for the support of this program. Also wanted to note that the U.S. Department of Energy and the National Renewable Energy Lab actually just tapped the Triangle TDM program as a national model. We'll be working with some partners to record a podcast that will be made available nationally for other regions across the country to take a look at this model and hopefully learn, and we can learn from coordination with other regions as well. So with that, we're happy to take any questions now or speak at another time with anyone that might be interested in learning more.
Hey, quick question from Sean McGrath here in Holly Springs. What's the best resource to try and get ridership numbers? We've been trying to get unsuccessfully ridership numbers for the new route in Holly Springs with Go Triangle. Do you have a good contact for that?
You can certainly contact myself, Suchi, as well, and we will follow up with you after this evening's meeting. Shelly or Michelle Parker, she goes by Shelly at Go Triangle, is our primary point of contact at Go Triangle. So we'll be happy to coordinate with you to be sure that we get the ridership statistics.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, if I may, I just want to reiterate some of the things that Sean said, and if the board remembers, back almost a year ago now, when we presented the budget, this was the one program that was the real uncertainty moving forward into this budget year, and it was it's a significant source of funding both for us and our staffing, but as Sean pointed out, the number of jobs in the region that this funding supports is significant. And so there's the obvious programmatic outcomes that Sean did a good job talking about, but there's also just the support of multiple jobs within local governments and other partners. And John and Sean and Suchi and Judy and Maurice and others just did a really nice job of staying on top of things, and as soon as those contracts were available, I started seeing DocuSign hits on my email, and we were ready to get those contracts out. So just a really, really nice job. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and congratulations on the national tap. I mean, that's quite the honor, and again, it just speaks to the quality of our COG, so thank you. And with that, we will move on to our consent agenda. First of all, does anyone wish to pull any items from the agenda? And if not, the chair will entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Madam Chair, this is Ken Marshman. I move approval of the consent agenda.
This is Sally Green. I'll second.
Thank you. The motion having been put forth and properly seconded, are there any other, is there any other discussion? With that, we will proceed with our roll call vote. So Renee, please take us to that.
Okay, so I will only call the names that responded affirmatively that they were in attendance, plus the ones that I've picked up since then. So I know we have had some people join the meeting. And if I don't call your name at the end, I'll give you a chance to speak up. Okay, Wilma Laney.
Wilma Laney votes aye.
Bob Smith.
Aye.
Grant.
Aye.
Mark Wilson.
Mark Wilson, aye.
Thank you. Jerry Medlin.
Aye.
Tommy Bill. Tommy. Okay. Andy Haven O'Donnell.
Aye.
Dan Bonillo. Not sure if he got his audio working. Deidreana Freeman.
Aye.
Heidi Carter.
Aye.
Larry Smith.
Aye.
Marshburn.
Aye.
Kathleen Ferguson.
Aye. Did you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Sorry. Sean McGrath.
Aye.
Butch Lauder. Are you still with us, Butch? Jessica Day.
Aye.
Okay. And was that you, Butch? Okay, maybe not. Kirk Smith. So I don't think we can hear Kurt. So Ariana?
Yes, I vote yes.
Thank you. Steve Rao?
Aye. Yes.
Sally Green?
Aye.
Kevin Drum? Ronnie Curran?
Aye.
And in the case where there's an alternate and a delegate here, I'll only call the delegate. So Rebecca Salmon?
Aye.
Byron McAllister?
Aye.
Bill Haggis?
Aye.
Andy Moore?
Aye.
Sig Hutchinson?
Aye.
Chad Sari?
Aye.
Joe Deloach?
Aye.
David McGowan?
Aye.
Okay, and let's see. Tommy, I think I saw you.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I didn't hear your vote before.
Aye.
Is there anyone else?
Jim Crawford for Chatham.
Oh, hey, Jim.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Anyone else?
All right, then.
Okay, the ayes have it.
Thank you. And that takes us now to first, Lee, you're the report as Executive Director.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, just want to welcome everybody and Happy New Year. It's the first board meeting of the year. I've got a few things I want to highlight. So I know it may take me just a little longer because there's some exciting stuff going on at the COG that I want to share with the board. But again, welcome to all the new delegates and alternate delegates. We're really happy to have you on board. You should have gotten an invitation, I think, from Renee for the delegate orientation if you're a new delegate or alternate. And that's going to be February 16th, I believe, from 4 to 6. If any existing delegates or alternates want to join us for the orientation, you are more than welcome. But we'll be doing it as one group virtually on the 16th. If anybody wants to join us, you can reach out to either myself or Renee. Want to give you a quick update on how we're doing with COVID. I continue to just be really impressed with the staff and the good work that they're doing. We continue to be in mostly remote operations. The offices remain closed, but staff is still continuing to do really good work remotely. And we're beginning to do some on-site visits for certain things, a couple things around the aging program, and I know there have been some other meetings that we've attended, and of course we've used appropriate precautions and followed any local ordinances or rules when we've done that. That brings me to our space, and just an FYI for the board, it's hard to believe, but we're beginning to creep up on the end of our lease at our current space at Emperor Boulevard. And this could be this is a unique time, obviously, with COVID, but it could be an opportunity for us to begin negotiations with the landlord a little earlier, and perhaps to be able to negotiate an extension of our lease and to actually get some renovations done to our facility before we actually get back. I know for some of you that are on staff that had to go through the renovation, you still talk about it and some of the trauma you went through from, I think, locating up to a couple floors above, and that's never fun. So we're beginning some of those conversations with the landlord. Our strategic leadership team met with an architect a couple days ago to begin thinking about our space and thinking about how teleworking and even more teleworking may impact our space in the future. So we'll certainly be keeping the board up to date, but just wanted to let you know about that. So from a few internal things to some exciting external member service sort of things. I'm really excited to talk for a second about our Regional Innovation Academy, and we'll actually present this to the board in more detail, I think, in March. But we had our first session today of the Regional Innovation Academy. And what this is we've had a number of our member governments actually volunteer to help teach courses to other local government employees across the region on subjects like creative design, measuring outcomes, prototyping, informed design, customer experience, and evaluation, communicating results. And we opened this up for, I believe, 25, and we had 50 local government employees apply. So we'll be doing this cohort and actually doing another cohort in a couple weeks. But I'm not aware of something like this really anywhere in the country where the local governments have come together to basically teach each other these sort of skills. And we've got jurisdictions like Raleigh and Wake County in the room, but we also have Benson and Sanford and Clayton in the room. So really great cross-section of local governments. Excited to let the board know that I firmly believe that at your March meeting, you'll be welcoming a new member government to the ranks of Triangle J. And I think that's going to be Moore County. And I'm just super excited. That will complete 100% county membership for our organization. They actually have dues in their budget. And really what sort of got it over the top was we're actually helping Moore County right now with a vacancy that they have in their planning department. We're getting paid for it, but they've been very appreciative of that, and they're ready to join. So they are, I think, going to be considering it at their commissioners meeting in a couple weeks and appointing their delegate. So we'll be welcoming, I'm like 95% sure we're going to be welcoming Moore County to the COG in March, of course, pending your vote as a board. So we're really happy about that. On other planning topics, we're actually doing 160D work. You may have heard about that from your planning staffs, where staff has to go in and make sure that your planning statutes comply with the new 160D rules, where it combines city and county planning documents. We're actually doing, we're going to do or might be doing up to 5 jurisdictions, actually helping them with their planning modifications due to 160D. You heard a little bit from Catrice that we're actually helping the city of Fayetteville, partnering with the Mid-Carolina COG on doing their housing study, and we're really excited about that. And another thing I'm really excited about on housing, the state recognizes what a terrific staff we have in the housing area. We've actually been awarded a grant from the Department of Environmental Quality to help create a home repair collaborative model in Durham and Wake counties. It's the same model we helped in the last 2 years with Chatham County and Orange County. On the water resources and resiliency side, we actually got special permission from the US EDA to extend a grant that we had. There was about $100,000 left in the grant. They gave us a extension of about 9 months to work in the Neuse River watershed. So that's our region, and even down in the Eastern Carolina Council region, to help support communities around water and wastewater. If you've seen some of the news reports for some of the smaller communities, water and wastewater systems are many times what get local governments in trouble financially. And so we'll be working, we actually have a call with the LGC tomorrow to have some conversations about some of these issues. Speaking of finance, we're actually partnering with the Mid-Carolina COG to provide finance assistance to local governments, and we got our first call about a week ago. We're actually working in Spring Lake, which is in Cumberland County, in partnership with Mid-Carolina COG. We have a retired deputy county manager who used to be a finance director and worked for the LGC, who is helping us. And Spring Lake is needs significant assistance right now. And it's a type of community that, if they do not get the assistance, could be potentially taken over by the LGC. And so we're happy to be helping with that. Just a couple other quick things. Our aging department's been hard at work getting lots of money out the door. They actually have delivered up to 60 tablets to long-term care facilities to help facilitate virtual communication in those facilities. We've gotten some rehabilitation grants from the state connected to one of the hurricanes, but it will help 2 nonprofits, one in Moore County and one in Johnston County, rehab 2 Rosenwald schools. And then it will help Lee County rehab their historic courthouse. You heard about all the great work in transportation, so I won't belabor that. But we're also helping Rollsville with their planning director search. We're helping Selma with their manager search, and we're working on a couple other opportunities for a department head search and a governing board retreat. So we've been busy. Our staff continues to do great work. So I thought with some time, it would be nice, especially with some new delegates, to just let you know some of the things we've been doing. This is not a comprehensive list, but this is sort of some of the new and emerging things that have happened in the last few months. So, Madam Chair, that's my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Wow, that's amazing. Are there some? I know that we have what's on the website, but and you can tell that I'm not a social media guru, but if there's social media posts or things like that that we can repost or get out there, because some of this is incredible work, and it's useful. I think that not only the delegates here, but our respective boards and our residents. Some of this is directly service that our residents benefit from.
Yes.
So if there's anything like that, I would love to know about it.
Yes, ma'am.
And with that, as far as the chair, and Dawn is not here, but I can share briefly that the forum will be meeting coming up in February. So we will have some information to report. We are expecting to hear from my future NC and NC Department of Transportation. So more from that at our next meeting. With that, we will move on to around the region, and in celebration that this is a new year, and we are looking at what new initiatives, strategies, or policies are being launched this year in your community. And briefly, in Hillsborough, our Colonial Inn, of course, is up and running, yay. But we recently joined GARE, which is the Government Alliance for Racial Equity. Several of us, while we have taken racial equity training through other organizations, we're going to be participating in some workshops. And the big thing that is new for us is we're kicking off our comprehensive sustainability planning, which and resiliency. So that it will be a longer term endeavor. And with that, I will pass it. And Renee, I think probably the easiest. I can't see everyone, so what I will do is I will pick someone and I will let you then hand it off. And how about Jerry? I'll tap you to tell us what is new in your community for the upcoming year.
Who did you call?
You got it, you sir.
We are working. I'm from Benson. We're working on an alliance, an economic development alliance, that we're tying Four Oaks, Benson, and Dunn together as an economic development alliance. We're on the memorandum of understanding now. The lawyers has given us that. We expect to have this operational by the end of February. Now, why are we doing this? One, we're all on the end of our county, so they don't think about us too much. But what we really are trying to do is to put together some of the things that really generate a requirement for a lot of cash like sewer and water and wastewater, and we're doing some of those things together. Dunn is going to be the main character for water. Benson will be the main character for sewer, and Four Oaks is going to be providing land and also help. We'll have one economic developer and probably have somebody helping with them. Their headquarters is going to be in Benson. But we are very excited about this, and I think it's for the small towns. If you can partner with somebody close by that has things that you can do together, I think you can save a lot of money. And that's what we're trying to do, is trying to position ourselves for the future. And things look like they're going to go fast. Thanks.
Thank you. And if you can just hand it off to someone else on your screen, and we'll just go from there.
Andy Moore? Are you there, Andy?
I think Andy may have left. It looks like he may have just left the meeting. He may have known you were going to call on him, Mayor.
How about Garner?
Yes, Jerry, this is Ken Marshman. I think I have unmuted. Is that correct? Okay, I'll mention just a couple of items. Our town continues to grow, and with that growth comes challenges. One of the areas that we've just completed a study in fact, talked about it at a work session last night, and that is a traffic calming policy. And so we have essentially completed that, and we'll be implementing that over the course of the next several months with the hope that the outcome will emphasize safety and reduce speeding. I'm sure none of you have speeding problems in your towns, or to decrease volume and maintain efficient movement of emergency vehicles, and so forth. And so ultimately, this will improve the quality of life for all of our citizens. So this initiative we're undertaking. And actually, the second thing I will mention is, although the times are considered to be unusual, we have gotten through the COVID-19 pandemic financially in pretty good shape. And we've been planning for this for some time. And so we're in the process of preparing a bond issue that we hope for our voters in the election, which will help us with some streets and sidewalk build outs that we need to do. And more specifically, we have 2 new park lands that we purchased some time back. Is that back flow from me? But to build out 2 new parks, one passive and the other an athletic type park. So with that, I will hand that off to someone else. Thank you.
And please, unless you're speaking, please have your microphones on mute. We'll take, I do see Wilma, so I will kick off to Wilma.
Okay, hi, how's everybody doing? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Clear.
Okay. Yep. First of all, I'd like to say, I hope everybody's going to have a good new year. And some of the things that we've done right now, we just had ourselves, and we came out very good on it. And the pandemic, you never know how things are going to go. But we do have a nice fund balance. It seems like we did better, really, financially. We're in very good shape. And in downtown Aberdeen, this year at Christmas time, because we weren't able to do a lot of the things we wanted to do, the parade, all that, we just put lights out and made it just beautiful. It really looked like a fairy tale. It was so beautiful downtown. So hopefully we can still do that next year. And some of the things we're still working on is, of course, our sports complex is coming along very well. One of the things I never mentioned, I never talked about the automatic meter readers we've been getting into Aberdeen. And I just wanted to mention that because it's going to save money and it's going to save time. So we're coming along with that. We're getting near the end of that. And I think that as far as housing, and we have a lot of building and going on in Aberdeen is really growing. So considering what we're going through, I think Aberdeen is doing very well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Mr.
Now,
Crawford.
Oh, good.
Sorry? Mr. Crawford, what's happening in your area in Chatham?
Okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, sorry. So this is Chatham's semi-quincentennial. 250 years ago, the county was formed. So we're celebrating that. We've got some virtual events set up, but hopefully later in the year we might be able to have some celebrations and activities and observances that will involve people in safe gatherings. But that's our biggest thing right now is we're celebrating our anniversary as a county.
Congratulations, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And do we have because I can't see who's there. Tim Cunningham with Goldston? No? Okay.
Miss Ferguson?
Yes.
If you'd like, I can go down the list. Would that be easier for you?
That would be fantastic. And
Okay.
I'm sure
I can see who's still here. Ariana?
Yes, hello. Coming in from Lee County, we have some exciting new things. We passed a bond for a sports complex. It passed with 58%. It was something the community had wanted for a long time. And we weren't really sure how it would do in the middle of what our economy has been with the pandemic, but they passed it. So we're starting the planning of that. And we have Barat Forge, which was a really exciting win for Lee County. And they're moving along with building. We are building a second spec building, which is exciting. We just have a lot of business growing in our county. And we are so excited and really appreciate the grant for the historic courthouse. And I have just nothing but good things to say about our health department. We've faced so many unforeseen obstacles with COVID and now with vaccines, and our department has just taken it in stride. So we're now trying to find some ways of quickly distributing what we have and making it as efficient as possible. But we have great staff and a great team that's trying to make our county as safe as possible. So thank you.
Bill?
All right, just get myself off of mute here. So in Siler City, I think one of the things, like many small towns, we struggle with hiring quality police officers. And as a matter of fact, we've had a number of openings for quite a long time. We're down 5 police officers, so you can imagine what kind of a strain that's putting on our existing officers. And so what we've done to help change that is that we have put together an employee referral program, and it's a little bit different. Most employee referral programs simply give a bonus to the employee when the candidate is hired. In our case, we're actually doing it in 3 phases. So we have the first bonus of $1,000 that gets paid to the employee when the recruit is hired and successfully completes his or her field training. And then another $1,000 that gets paid to the employee when that officer completes 1 year of employment and comes off of probationary status. And then finally, there's a third payment, and that's $1,500 for when the individual completes 2 years of service with the department. And we looked at this and really wanted to not just get bodies in the seats, but we really wanted to encourage the quality of the officer. So we chose to do that over a period of time, and I think we're hoping that really pays some dividends to us, because we know that it's a challenge out there. Law enforcement's a very difficult and very demanding career, and we just want to make sure that we get the best candidates possible. So I think that's something new and exciting for us, and from a policy perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Byron?
Hi, in Selma, we are working on getting ourselves firmly into the 21st century. We're upgrading our customer service and financial software to make town hall operations a little more efficient. With that, we are installing new NextGrid electrical meters this year to also make our, from a customer service standpoint, make things better for our citizens and allow us to be more efficient with that as well. On the policy side, we are taking a deep dive into our code enforcement and our policies surrounding that to work on, quite frankly, appearance issues within Selma. And beyond that, we are also getting prepared for a significant expansion of Selma with the Eastfield project, which we hope to see get underway this year. And all of these changes are, quite frankly, to prepare for the rapid growth of Selma. Thank you.
Okay, Deidreana, are you still here? I think she had to leave. Heidi?
Yeah, I'll just mention one thing. This past Monday night, the Board of County Commissioners in Durham unanimously approved an increase in the wages for all Durham Public Schools classified staff members to $15 an hour. The state, of course, raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour a while back for state employees, but that did not include classified staff members. So, you know, the wonderful human beings who are driving our buses and working in our school cafeterias and working with our children as instructional assistants, all these people that are working with our children every single day, Durham made the decision that we'll supplement their salaries up to the $15 an hour mark. And so we're just really thrilled about that. It's going to be retroactive for this whole entire school year. And we think it's going to be a policy that will be fundamental to improving economic equity and racial equity in our community.
Thank you. So Deidreana.
Good evening, everyone. I apologize. I'm trying to multitask, of course, in the background. But I'd say similar to Commissioner Carter, this one thing that comes to mind for Durham is on Monday night, we'll actually be passing a resolution for the Crown Act, or in support of the Crown Act, I'll say that, mainly for Black women and their hairstyles, and acknowledgement that the discrimination that's occurred over the centuries still continues, and there hasn't been a way for folks to respond. And the city of Durham actually passed an anti-discrimination ordinance that will take effect in July, just addressing some of the really outrageous ways that people are still allowed to discriminate in our country. So I think I'm excited about what comes next, and just plugging along, trying to manage our COVID numbers and keeping folks safe. But other than that, that's all. Thank you.
Joe?
Is it time for the new guy, Deloach? I will say that I am new to Triangle J, but this is my second year as a town commissioner in Wendell. Wendell, I tell you, with COVID, really we've been struggling just with, public feedback, public comment. We're chugging right along with our town board meetings, but our town hall is quite outdated from a size standpoint, ventilation standpoint, that kind of thing. So we've had some struggles there, but we do have, the good part of growing pains is, outweighs the bad, obviously. But we got a new town hall project on board that should be cranking up pretty soon. So that is exciting. We're working on our comp plan for 2030 right now. We're seeking out resident information. So we're moving along. And, this is probably old news. This is my first meeting here. Maybe you guys have discussed this, but, Wake Tech will always be big news for us here in Wendell because we have, obviously Wake Tech campus coming to town. So we're excited about that. And really looking forward to 21. Big things on deck. So thanks for having me. I kind of echo what Jerry said to start off the conversation. I'm really interested in partnering with, the folks in Eastern Wake County and some Johnston County folks as well. So I'm happy to be here, and I look forward to meeting folks that can certainly help that charge here in Eastern Wake County. So thank you.
Thank you. Kevin?
Lots of things going on. Obviously, I might have talked previously that we now became headquarters for USDA, United States Golf Association. It's an exciting one for us, but it's also like a big meeting.
Hey, Kevin, this is Lee. We're going to have to look into your audio. You're having the same problem you had at Tri-Cities yesterday. I'm sorry. I know. If you want to put something in the chat, we had Kevin on a meeting yesterday, and he was having the same issue. So we'll look into that. Sorry, Kevin.
Larry Smith.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Things are going well in Fuquay Arena. We've got an exciting 2021 planned. A lot of big things happened for us in 20. We had our highest number of single-family permits ever, with October being the high month, and already January is breaking October. So a lot of exciting things going on. We're weathering the storm well, moved into our new police department facility. We're planning Fire Station 4, our new community center north and senior center complex. A lot of good things there going on. But one thing we're excited about is we've worked really hard in the last few months of working on an updated vision statement, mission statement, and a new set of core values. We've reworked all of that. We've got our strategic planning retreat coming up this weekend, and I've been looking at the agenda, and it's really notable how close to our core values we've set our agenda, so that all of our strategic plans that we'll be working on for 2021 and beyond will have our core values as the driver for how we come up with a strategic plan. So that's going to be our big thing, trying to make sure that our strategic plan centers on the town of Fuquay Arena's core values. But things are going well, and we're weathering the pandemic fairly well down here, and we're looking forward to hopefully a better 21, and I hope everyone else has a great 21 as well.
Thank you. Butch?
Good evening. A couple of things happening in Johnston County, a couple of firsts. One is the belated first. Since 2010, we haven't updated our land use plan, so we've started that process now. We will be hiring this year our first ever PIO, so that is good. And we too are starting our planning retreat, first one we've had in 2 years. We didn't have one last year. And then I'm thrilled to say it's going to be 2 days instead of a 1/2 day that it was the last time we had it. So looking forward to all that. And I think that one thing that Jerry had mentioned on when he started out with Benson is for the county, I think that we are looking to partner with our towns to figure out what our needs are across the county, not just county needs, but each town, and look at seeing what's going to work best for us. And I may be reaching out to some of you guys who have a water and sewer authority or county-wide sewer, or maybe don't have it at all, but we're trying to figure out what's going to work best for the future of Johnston County and its town. So to me, being an engineer, those are exciting things to be a part of. Oh, and we did recently acquire our first piece of parkland ever in the county, so we hope to do more of that than some land banking this coming year. That's it.
Great. Thank you. Mark Wilson?
Hi, Archer Lodge is going to be breaking ground probably this spring on our first municipal park, and we'll be using the part of grant we received in $500,000 matching funds.
That's great. Ronnie?
Hi, everyone. Roseville is still growing. We've broken ground on a couple of new subdivisions in the last few months, and some more are already approved and on the books. So we're still growing. Our financials, as someone mentioned, we made through pretty good with the COVID without much problem with that. Now, one thing about Roseville is we don't have a lot of commercial. We don't have a lot of the restaurants and things that really got hurt during this pandemic. So, and that's not what we want. We want those things, but we just don't have them yet. And during the pandemic, it kind of gave us advantage a little bit by having that, and we made through pretty good on it. One of the things that I want to mention that I spoke to you guys before plenty of times is Roseville. We've been working on a Main Street vision for a couple years now, and in that vision, it's improving, which is 401 business that comes right through town, right through Main Street. And there's about a $6 million improvement plan for that, and it's still on go. Believe it or not, through all the turmoil we've had in the last 12 months, it's still on go. We in the engineering phase, should be finishing engineering by midsummer. Bids going out in the fall, and actually start working in first of the year in 2022. So we're excited about that. And part of the Main Street vision was more than just street improvements. It was actually adding a couple commercial centers. And one of them was a partnership that, the town owned about 11 acres on the northern end of Main Street. And we partnered with this private developer to create a mixed use area there on the northern end. And it had residential, commercial, and also we'll have a town facility there, probably a community center, and really excited about that because I think that's going to really be a game changer for us. And the mixed use actually have housing above commercial, so it's like 2-3 story buildings with mixed use in the building, which will be our first time experiencing that in town, and very, very excited about that. And we didn't want to lose this. The land that we doing this commercial center on was supposed to be for our governmental complex, and we don't want to lose that. So we're really excited about last meeting. We approved to go into a purchase agreement for additional 17 acres, which is just a matter of a few feet from where we had the commercial center at, to do our 120 days due diligence and maybe close on that. We'll pick up 17 acres that we can start back working on our future governmental facilities. And the last thing I'll mention is something about staff. I appreciate Lee, you guys helping with the finding of the planner director. So that's a big need, and I appreciate that. But also we approved for 2021, this year, for the first time, we're going to have a personnel director, HR director, I guess, official title. First time ever. As many needs we need in town, we feel like this is a very strategic move to hire a HR director to help us with the staffing. As some of you know, it's hard recruiting, and we feel like that this will help us to recruit, somewhat of a diverse staff, and that's difficult. It's been kind of difficult for us, and that's one of the goals that we have in town. We want a diverse staff, and also for the our staff that's working for us, we want to make sure everything is more equitable and all for that standpoint. So we're very excited about hiring this HR director to kind of help us with some of those needs that we haven't had a chance to do it before. So with that, I'll let you take it back, Renee.
Okay, thank you. Michelle?
Ronnie pretty much summed it all up, so thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Randy?
Hi, good evening and Happy New Year, folks. I just want to say for Lee and staff at TJCOG that the roundtable sharing is one of the most fascinating aspects of our delegate meetings, and I really applaud taking the time to do this. I have a few items. First, Carrboro also is part of the GARE program, Government Alliance for Racial Equity, since 2016, and we just participated this last week in the learning cohort graduation, which was an excellent program. The Carrboro Race and Equity Commission is about to get launched. We've worked on that this past year. We're also, like Hillsborough, engaged in the comprehensive plan. The layout for the plan, if you want to see what the website looks like, is carboroconnects.org. Very proud of the effort to be as inclusive and embracing of the Carrboro and the greater Carrboro area on visioning for our town. I wanted to mention with the TDM, because Carrboro is part of the Chapel Hill Transit, and so I wanted folks to realize that although Carrboro's logo is not up there, we are part of the Chapel Hill Transit, and one of the things that we've been very much concerned about in terms of expanding the TDM is looking to secure funding and working with the comprehensive plan to expand the interest in alternative from single car use. And one of the things that I want to mention is that we are urging legislators to fully restore the funding for the SMAP, which is this state maintenance assistance program. I don't know if folks know, but the North Carolina Public Transportation Association is meeting this Friday to finalize their language on this legislation, this legislative goal. So if you have that interest, please urge members to follow up with not only your own legislators, but to let the North Carolina Public Transportation Association know of your interest. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sally.
Thank you. Well, Orange County is also a participant in GARE and went through the final meeting the other morning, which I was happy to watch. Brandy didn't mention that Carrboro, like Hillsborough and Chapel Hill and Orange County, also passed, like Durham did, a non-discrimination ordinance now as soon as we were able to do that. So that's good. The really thing I want to highlight is Orange County, like Durham County, because of the failure of the light rail, is embarked in a revision of its countywide transit plan. And to date, that process has mostly been driven by staff and consultants, but the elected officials, and I'm one of the co-chairs of it, are about to get engaged to really sort of start steering the policy direction. And I really want my Durham and Durham County colleagues to hear this, that we definitely are interested in finding some kind of regional transit solution, probably up and down 15501 if possible. But we are not going to let, if we can help it, that vision of regional transit between Orange and Durham just fall away like the light rail did. So that's what I'm thinking about these days.
Thank you. Sean.
Yeah, good evening from Holly Springs. Certainly, as most of us are wishing that 2020 provides great hindsight, and hopefully 2020 stays there. We got a lot of exciting things going on in Holly Springs. We got a new hospital that's up and growing. For anybody who drives through Holly Springs, it's now the big skyscraper in the middle of Holly Springs as you drive along NC 55. As part of that, we are embarking on a comprehensive transportation plan revision and update right now, park and rec, master plan redo, and a unified development ordinance redo as well. So all three of those going on simultaneously, and thankfully, due to some pretty active online presence of our community, we've had quite a good representation of citizens in those meetings and discussions about all three of them, even throughout COVID, to include Holly Springs being the number one census, number one census response in North Carolina, and I think somewhere around 50th in the entire country. So good on our residents for being engaged throughout the crisis that we've had. And they've been very creative, not only our staff, but the community. I just went through a drive-in retirement today, retirement ceremony for our 31-year public works director. So great to continue to have events, and we still continue to meet in person for all of our board meetings right now. I will thank Wake County for working with us on one project right now, and that's the landfill. So with everybody being home, there's even more stuff that's being deposited into the South Wake landfill. And so that is added to some odor issues here, but we're working well, I think, with the landfill, and the county commissioners are doing their best to try and help us out to resolve those issues for our community. But other than that, some good things going on here with an active community here in Holly Springs, and a lot of growth. Thanks.
Sig?
Thank you, Renee, and appreciate that shout out, Sean. And we're working on as much as we can on the landfill. In Wake County, it's COVID-19 all the time, and we're working really hard to get our residents vaccinated up. And I know that we're all dealing with that, and we appreciate the work of North Carolina to get that done. I think one of the things that I'm thinking about personally is that there's, we're going to get enough vaccines at a point in time, but we need to do some things to encourage folks who are a little bit hesitant about this vaccine to go ahead and get vaccinated. And how are we going to increase the percentage of folks who have reservations to actually get the shot and get us where we need to be. But we all are very concerned about this, and we want to continue to work on this to make sure that we can get through this pandemic as quickly as possible. On the way out, let me give a big shout out to my good friend Steve Rao, who was in the paper this week, front page above the fold, talking about our Asian American community and all they're doing to make our community in Wake County even better. So it's great to be part of the Triangle J community once again, and look forward to a good year.
Thank you. Bob? Oh, you're muted.
Self a note. I even made myself a note not to do that. But good evening, everyone. I'm Mayor Bob Smith, and your mayor. We're kind of like my tummy during COVID. we're bursting at the seams here. We started at 4,800 a couple of years ago. We're now about 6,000, and we have about 1,800 new permits on the books, and that doesn't include anything with the new bypass that'll come in about 23. So Wake and Fuquay, thank you. We appreciate you sending folks down to us. Ronnie, like you, we've come through the COVID, thank goodness, and bless us very good. Our income has maintained. We're even looking at possibly a new town hall since the people are sitting on top of each other. If the COVID doesn't kill us through increasing the building cost, we're sure going to try to do it. Would just like to say we appreciate the help of TJ Cog over the recent months. Lee and your crew has just been very helpful. Another thing that's bursting though is our park, and so we're going to have to try to expand that. So it's growing here. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, Steve.
Thank you, and I want to thank Sig Hutchinson for that shout out. And the best thing about being first is to know you're not the last. And I want to thank Satish Garamella and Senator Jay Chaudhary and all of the Asian American, Dimple Ajmera Yalu for all the great work they're doing. But thank you so much. That was very kind of you. Real quickly, the couple of things in Morrisville. We're in the middle of our land use plan, which is quite exciting. So we're voting on that in February, and we have plans for a downtown. So we're working hard on that, and then a bond referendum coming this fall. And the most important initiative that I'm proudest of, because I helped lead it, is our Smart Cities initiative. So we actually have a whole Smart City initiative. We actually brought in a consultant to assess our town and based on our strategic plan. And the result of that is we have a connected corridor, a connected park initiative, where we're going to be using sensors to monitor flooding in our parks, to notify people when it's not safe to go, and also around different areas of our strategic plan, like public safety and transportation and mobility. And we just appointed a Smart City Steering Committee last night at our council meeting. So it's exciting. It's basically using technology to provide and enhance our services. And if there's any cities that need help or assistance or towns, let me know. And I'm just so proud of our staff and our team for working so hard. A year ago, we didn't even have an initiative, and now we're, applying for grants and all kinds of programs. So looking forward to getting this pandemic finished, vaccinated, and hopefully we'll be seeing each other in person sooner than later. But and we're doing a lot of work with the pandemic. Like, our staff's been working really hard. And want to thank Tranquil J for all that you guys have been doing. So, and everyone, be safe.
Thank you. Susan.
Well, we also in Wake County are in the middle of revising our land use plan. We're getting public input on our plan Wake, and we'll be finalizing that later this year. And I'm proud of the work our staff has done thus far, and I look forward to finalizing that. And I just say a heads up that I think there'll be a lot of components in this planning paradigm that will be very friendly to our neighboring municipalities and the way that we approach development in the future. So stay tuned for that. And thanks for welcoming me to the group.
Thank you. Let's see, I think Wilma went earlier. So I'm down to a couple of phone numbers. So I have a 935-3197. Does anyone want to claim it? Okay. A 604-3705.
Hi, yes, this is Jessica Day. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Great, great. So this is Jessica Day with Nightdale, and yes, there is a lot going on. I feel like I'm hearing everybody say there's a lot going on, but there's a lot of changes and things that are happening in Nightdale. I know most of you are aware, but if you are not aware, James Robertson, who now I have to say was our previous mayor, is now in the position of representative. So he is the representative of House District 39. We are so excited for him in his new position, and we are so thankful for his leadership and the time that he was here and everything that he has done for the town of Nightdale, and we're excited about what he will continue to do for the Eastern Wake community. So having said that, thank you everyone for the congratulations. I was appointed in the position of mayor, which left the mayor pro tem position open. So Mark Swan, which is one of our other council members who has been on the council for years and been a great contributor, great for our town, is now mayor pro tem. And we have also appointed Latacious Morris, who's been also very involved in a lot of our boards within the community, to be our newest council member. And we're so excited to have her on the board and have her perspective and some things that she's going to be able to do. So I'm excited about what we're going to do with our new board now and where we're going to go, but just wanted to give you those updates. As far as the town and what's going on with us, I heard strategic plan, and that's what we are doing as well. We did our comprehensive strategic plan in 2019, which was Nightdale Next, and very excited about that plan. And now we are breaking down the details of that plan and doing smaller plans. So we are focused now on our Parks and Rec plan. This is the first time we've done a Parks and Recreation plan to look at everything as a whole and plan for the growth that is happening now and the growth that will continue to happen in Nightdale. We're also doing an economic development plan, and I'm very excited about that because as we continue to grow, looking at our businesses, whether it be our large businesses that are coming in or our small business community, we want to make sure that we are supporting and we're a great place for businesses. So because we know that that's important for the community. So excited about all of these things going on in Nightdale and excited to hear about everything that's going on around in other communities as well.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
This is Kirk Smith, and I've been trying to get through. I just want to compliment. Commissioner LaValle for following through with my report that I texted her, and as well, everyone should know that Commissioner LaValle is the youngest county commissioner in the state of North Carolina.
Yay. Thank you for that.
So is there anyone that we missed? Okay.
I hear that as we've gotten everything, a lot going on, and I agree with my colleague Randy that yes, it's fascinating. I've taken a lot of notes of things, of ideas, and it's one of my favorite parts of our meetings. And with that, is there any other business that members or staff have before us? And if not, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
This is Bill Haggis. Then I'll second.
Fantastic. Now, do we have to do the roll call vote for this?
We do not, but who was the motion?
Deidreana and then Bill.
Okay, I missed the first one. Thank you.
All right, and we actually are we're a minute early, so you get a minute extra in your day. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. And it's great to see everyone, and look forward to hearing what progress with everyone's jurisdictions for our next meeting. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank